Cool. Yeah.
Cool.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another great episode of Zenny 62, another legendary Oaklander. And it is my pleasure to introduce Shaun. He is the executive director, first of what was Oakland Digital and is now called BRIDGEGOOD.
Yeah.
And I want to show you this really cool website that presents, if you haven't been able to guess, by the way, I believe Mr. Ty is the man on the upper left hand, right?
Yeah, that's me. No hat. I had to sport the town hat today, of course. But yeah, that's bridgegood.org. And like Zenny, you said, first of all, thank you for, and honestly, I don't think people remember when there was a time that people did not know about tech or digital literacy. People did not know that these things could not stream video. I remember when I saw that, Zenny, I think in 2005 or 6, my partner, Ray Love, who's a rapper, Santa Rosa, he showed me and he's like, yo, Shaun, we can get Pushing the Bay on a TV. I'm like, how do you do that? He's like, YouTube.
Yeah.
And so you were one of the early adopters and creators and innovators to start using that media. So I wanted to give you props, and we've been holding it down for the Oakland digital side in terms of digital, everything digital Oakland for so long that I appreciate you, and I don't think people get appreciated enough for what they do.
No, and I want to appreciate what you guys are doing, and your effort to educate people regarding what Brant Bowen and Bo would term digital fitness.
Yeah. I mean, really, that's what Oakland Digital Arts and Literacy Center started out as back in 2009. Really, props to my mom, who is my everything, had Rosewood House at the corner of Broadway and 26. And she owned that store since the early 70s. My dad opened that at Broadway and 2523 Broadway in 1969. So really my whole early childhood was going to my mom's store. My earliest memory was a photo in front of that store on Broadway. And my mom held that position as a small business owner, single mother, woman of color, for over 40 years. So, my mom was really the first person that said, hey, Shaun, I got my logo made at Kinko's. I don't know if people know what Kinko's was. You know what Kinko's is, right?
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Okay. A lot of young people don't. Right? Yeah, young people don't.
Dude, I'm old enough to remember when Kinko's first started.
Yeah, right. So I don't have that experience like you, but she had got her logo made there in brush script, but she didn't have it vectorized, which means EPS AI format. So she had us vectorize it, my brother and I, shout out to my brother Wilson. And she's like, okay, what can I do with this digital format? You can make flyers using Photoshop. You can create a website. At that point, it was HTML 0.0, honestly. And so we made a website, rosewoodhouse.com, in the late 90s. That took off. My mom started getting clientele from digital formats. And then she said, Shaun, what is this Facebook? And we're talking 06, 07. And so really my mom was the seed of what we became Oakland Digital, is how do we connect designers? I went to state level schools, Cal State East Bay alum, San Jose State for my master's. How do we take people like myself that had to stay local because of family, which I did. I had bigger aspirations educationally, but my mom's store in Oakland, I was always the kid to stay close to mom. So I helped my mom out with design and social media. Same thing as you. We're like mama boys, and I'm proud of it. And that's really what helped me start Oakland Digital, was how do we take students like myself that are under-resourced, that have challenges in life, and then how do we help small businesses like my mom flourish in the digital economy? And really those two seeds, if you will, has rooted into now BRIDGEGOOD, where we're mainly focused on helping students of color enter the world of design. And when we say design, what does that mean? User experience, user interface, visual design, because those are the jobs that are paying in tech, and really that's why we're here today, Zenny, is like the digital literacy boom. And now that small businesses know they need to be social, now it's helping those students get jobs, because I think the digital divide is still there, but it wasn't what it was in 2013, 2012, 2011. Zenny, I remember, I think you might have reached out to me when we were doing those City Hall events, social media for small business. We started that. I think the first year we did that was 2011.
Because Libby and Michael Hunt didn't tell me. That's
right. The first mayor that I met up with was Ron Dellums.
Okay.
And I remember I went there with Dr. Ruth Love, who's an OG, one of the original educators. And I go into the mayor's office and I say, oh, can I plug in? I meant projector. They meant there's the outlet. Because Oakland at that point was so behind on digital, right? And I just remember, wow, we got a lot to do here in Oakland, right? 2011, we introduced a thing called the hashtag. And I remember Jean Kwan going, Shaun, and I got to shout out Jean Kwan. She was a super great supporter of mine and one of my for sure. And she's like, do what you need to do here because I think you're onto something too. And we taught the hashtag, and everyone in the crowd was like, what is this thing? Like, it kind of aggregates information into one area, and we were trying to explain it, but even myself, it was so new, right? That year, we also brought Yahoo to Oakland. In 2012, we brought Google to Oakland, Steve Grove and Mary Hemmencool, who now is Mary Grove, and they're married. Steve Grove did the first hangout with President Obama in the history, which was amazing. 2013, we brought Twitter to Oakland. And I was really proud because I was in my 20s and I was, bringing these big companies to Oakland to teach digital literacy. And I'm very proud of the work that we collectively did. It wasn't just me, it was all of us. And here we are today.
We intersected so many paths, and I have to be candid. The reason why I got upset at Michael Hunt was because I was saying, Michael, I don't do what they do, but it's complimentary. And you guys, you play favorites for different reasons that have nothing to do with us. And so, like, for example, Steve Grove, I met Steve Grove. I went to, thanks to Peralta Community College District and Elihu Harris, who was my boss when I was his economic advisor.
Wow. Okay.
Elihu, when I started my second company, Sports Business Simulations, he called me into the office. I don't want to talk too much. This is your time, but we have these intersecting paths, so I just couldn't help myself, right?
Yeah, for sure. No, I like how you say that because people always go, Shaun, you're the face of it. And you know what I tell them? I'm like, there are so many people, and I'm sure with your career too, we might be the face, but there are so many people behind the scenes.
Well, but here, get this, okay? What happened was I was invited to a convention called Vloggercon. That was by the fellow Jeffrey's gonna kill me if I don't remember his last name, but he was Peralta Communications and Elihu called him into the office when Elihu was chancellor. He was also on my advisory board for Sports Business Simulations. We made online simulations of sports organizations for use in the classroom. This was I started the company in 2003. Well, this was 2006. And anyway, Elihu had me in and said, Jeffrey Heyman. And Jeffrey.
I know Jeffrey, by the way.
Well, yeah, Jeffrey's a great guy. He invited me to help them run their table at Vloggercon in San Francisco.
Got it.
So I wouldn't have to pay $600 to go in, right?
That's nice.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
YouTube at that time was using a flash codec.
Yep, exactly. Yep, I remember that.
The standard, however, was by Blip TV, which was ran by Michael Hudak, and they were using H.264 codec, right?
Yep.
I was hooked on Blip, but I love YouTube because the design lended itself to a viral video. So I started making videos about politics, President Obama, and integrating my video blogs with my then Blogger blog. And prior to that, in 2002, and then leading in 2003, I discovered Blogger's platform, and I created Oakland Focus. That was Oakland's first true blog. It wasn't a website that said a blog, right? It was a blog.
Right. And, and to that point, what's crazy about the internet, the digital sphere, is that it takes innovators and leaders. And that's why this platform is so important, is all these things we're sharing.
But get this. So I'm making these videos, and I get an outreach from this dude at YouTube named Steve Grove.
No way.
What I'm leading up to.
And now the whole circle is
Yeah.
free. And Steve Grove spoke on our behalf at the city hall, and he made school hangouts.
What year was that?
2013.
Okay, so fast forward to 2007. That's when he reached out to me.
Wow. So
okay? And he said, hey, you know what? We've noticed that you're making a lot of political videos. I'm Steve Grove. First of all, would you like to become a YouTube partner? No, excuse me. First he said, would you make some sample videos for the CNN YouTube Democratic debates? The YouTube partnership came out, all right? And I said, yeah. So I made 3 sample videos. One of them was selected by 5 different CNN producers. So even though I wasn't invited to go to North Carolina for the CNN YouTube Democratic debate, the 50-second question, which is I held up a coin, the quarter, went to the cathedral over here at Lake Merritt over there. I'm in Fayetteville, Georgia. But at any rate, and I said, on this coin says, United States of America. And if I turn it over, it says, in God we trust. What those words mean to you? Well, Anderson Cooper asked that question of none other than Joe Biden.
Wow. Okay.
Right. And it says, here's Zinnia from Zinni Systems from Oakland, California. And they ran it. Wow. And so the Tribune, Oakland Tribune had announced, because we were also, I was at Zinni Zeitgeist blog, and we were the first blog, one of the first bloggers to be selected ever among 128 blogs in the country to be bloggers at the Democratic National Convention. Wow. That was what President Obama was, nominated to be the Democratic nominee, was senator, right? So my whole point is Steve Grove was an early driver of this.
Absolutely.
And then early on in 2008, he said, would you like to become a YouTube partner? So to my knowledge, Zinni 62 Media is the first Oakland-based YouTube partner channel ever.
You're the OG. You're the OG.
And I was trying to say to Michael Hunt, as I said, hey, look, don't play, and I said this, don't play race favorites. He's going to get upset, but he and I need to talk about a lot of things because they were keeping us apart. All right. And I said, don't do it.
But you know what it is, though? It's education, man. It's just education, and everything has a time. Everything has momentum. So the momentum's here now. Yeah. I will say that at that same time, 2008, I was at Stanford, and this is connecting to Oakland, but I was at Stanford, and I'm with Ray Love on behalf of Pushing the Bay TV, my YouTube channel at the time, and up on stage is Quincy Jones III, Mr. Fab, Chameleonaire, and Hammer Time, MC Hammer, and they're talking about this brand new platform, and they're talking about it, and they're like, okay, it's this thing that's coming out, and you can type and you let them know what you're doing at any moment, but it's under 140 characters. It's this thing called Twitter. And everyone in the crowd at Stanford's like what's the value of this? And that's actually how I discovered MC Hammer, and he became my friend. A shout out to Hammer, who's not just my friend, but a mentor and hero to me. Yeah. But from that meeting, I went up to him at the end and I said, yo, I'm a fan. My first cassette tape was, my mom bought that for me, was Hammer, Don't Hurt Him, Please Don't Hurt Him. Can I just get in touch with you? He's like, yo, tweet me. And from there, we started becoming friends on Twitter. And even to this day, he's supportive at least multiple times a year, coming out supporting.
What year was that?
That was 2005, 2006.
Wow. Because the first time I met
him, a little bit like 2008, yeah.
I actually wound up helping him. He was my client.
Okay, cool.
On the content creation project, which that's how we and I met. And then, but prior to that, at Vloggercon, I met a guy who was talking about voice over IP. He would never shut up about it. That's all he was talking about. And if you ever heard of Vonage, that's Pulver.
Got it.
And so my question to you is, because we're on all these orbits, which is fantastic that we're connecting now, because also I want to give a shout out to somebody else that, if you remember Oakland Local.
Yeah, I do. I started around the same time, 2008.
Yeah, and she was really good about bringing people together, and myself and other bloggers. So I hope she's doing well health-wise, but I just want to give a shout out to her because you and her have a lot of similarities, and it's exemplary the fact that we're all doing a lot of great things that we have to, I think, make a concerted effort in the future to identify other Oaklanders and sort of bring them into an informal loop, or however we do that, right?
Yeah.
So this sort of thing doesn't happen again, because I contend we have a lot, like, you are massively talented. I see what you do on Instagram, on all social media, and you're massively talented at in content development. And I think what you're doing with a number of great organizations should be considered legend, period, from that point. But my question is, how much of all of this is sort of a Bay Area only story, or even an Oakland only story? Because I can't imagine doing this or someplace else, because it's like, for example, with me, my friend Kathy Brooks invited me. Actually, it wasn't even Kathy Brooks. It was Michael Bean of Forio Business Simulations, who I was partnered with because I was using their modeling technology, System Dynamics. And he said, there's this party at Mighty San Francisco, the Light Club. And he said, it's called Twitter. You should go and check it out. That's how I wound up at the Twitter launch party.
Word of mouth. I mean, word of mouth, right?
Word of mouth, right. So how much of a role does the Bay Area play in all this?
Man, dude, I'm so glad you brought that up. What I was doing, I grew up on Bay Area hip hop. So Too Short in Oakland, Master P in Richmond, Ray Love in Santa Rosa, Mac Mall and Mac Dre in Vallejo. So I'm a RBL Posse in San Francisco. So I'm like a Bay Area cat. But we have a phrase in the hip hop industry, the rap game, that's like, people come to the Bay, they steal our game and they leave. And I still believe that for tech. I believe that for ideas. I would like to twist that and be like, borrow our ideas, but just give us credit. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know about you, Zenny, but I believe in content creation as much as you do. And I think that's what legacy is. Because one very cool feature on Facebook is the legacy feature, which means when you die, you have someone that takes over your presence. I believe the future of social is that. It's the legacy idea of who takes over your digital assets. And in fact, I'll go a step further. I think that's the future, because now they're having holograms of MJ, holograms of Tupac. Digital asset is still a part of that. So you still hear Bruce Lee tweeting right now, right? So I still think that's an unexplored area for anyone that wants to do a startup. I think that's a huge area that hasn't been tapped yet. But to your point of how important is it? Yeah, what's up? Oh man,
explain that, Mark.
Yeah,
this just
everyone dies. Everyone dies, and what happens to your data? One, two, what happens to your content? That's a scary thing, because how many people do you know? I was going to start a film called Last Tweets, which is taking everyone's last tweet and just kind of putting a montage together. Never executed that, but I still might. But I've always been fascinated by death and technology and legacy. And that's something that I want to explore more. I haven't had the resources to tap into that, but I do think that is the next frontier. I really believe that.
Here's the reason I asked, because I had the pleasure of interviewing Jim Kelly, Enter the Dragon, and John Saxon, the Dragon. I've interviewed Jim Kelly 3 times.
Wow.
Because I was covering WonderCon and Comic-Con. And what I discovered in covering those events is, if you on the top of that, the night one across Oscars party, you cover events where you're consistently interviewing pretty much the same people on a yearly basis, you see them age. But something else happened. I found out that Jim Kelly died in a very weird way, which goes to your interest in legacy content. Someone on Twitter tagged my Twitter account and said, "Great interview with Jim Kelly."
Right.
Jim Kelly, hashtag Jim Kelly, rest in peace.
Yeah.
That's how I found out he died.
Wow. Wow.
What went through my head on top of all that was, what do I do with that knowledge? In other words, what do I do with, do I make a memorial? Maybe I should. I hadn't thought about that until just right now because of what you said.
I appreciate it. It's deep. Here's the thing, Zenny. No one's going to do it for us. That's the sad truth. So, when I looked at your YouTube, you have 70 million views and, You said how many videos do you have up there? 16,000?
Almost 17,000. Yeah, man.
That's legacy, because one day when maybe both of us are gone, someone's going to look through that and just have, and maybe 1 or 2 or 3. But for the people that never created content, what happens?
Right.
And it's a scary thing, but it's very, very real. And I think that everyone has to. I got to shout out Ray Love again. He has an amazing quote. He said, "Death is the fairest thing," because everyone has to do it. You know, and if we know that, and we're building products, we still haven't figured that out yet. Like, what does this, beyond data, the content, the actual media, where does that live? Where does that go? I know I upload all of my stuff to YouTube, private, unlisted. Who owns that? Who takes over that? What is it worth? What's the value? Can we reconstruct a new 2080 Shaun Tai or 2080s Zenny? Like it's really crazy and deep, but it's also fascinating, and it's, like you call it, legacy content.
Well, here's something else that goes with something I thought about, and that is it would be neat to be able to, I'll just say, press a button and know what those person's last comments were.
Wow.
And I say that because there are a number of people who passed away, and others don't know that they had a video interview that I did, or I didn't know it, right? Or on a more personal level, I had a buddy that killed himself. Yeah. And he one of his last videos was a video he did with me, a live stream that he did from Dallas.
Wow.
Right after the Super Bowl in 2011 that was held at Cowboy Stadium, where they had the ticket scandal, which he was in the middle of.
Wow. Wow.
So that
it's right. It's insane. I mean, I was just with one of my homies, Noah Graham Photography, who shoots for the Golden State Warriors. He's the lead photographer. He's super dope. And he was telling a story about Kobe Bryant, and because he shot Kobe Bryant a lot, you know, part of the NBA. He's a star. You're going to take photos. And he's like, people are asking me, you know, can you show us the photo of me and Kobe? And he's like, I don't know where it's at, because we don't think about these things until they're not here. And if they're, like you say, a press of a button, something like that can aggregate all of this, I think that'd be an amazing product, which goes to kind of BRIDGEGOOD and design for social good. We have our hashtag design for social good, and it's all about how do we teach young people to design for social good. And what we mean by that is we're teaching user experience. So we have a 3-month apprenticeship that's going on right now, where 18 students from all over Northern California are learning to build products. Not coding, but designing. We use the design sprint methodology, so it goes everything from research to storyboarding to converging, diverging on ideas, and creating products. So we are developing kind of the next generation of designers and creators. And we really believe when you're helping young people of color, the products will become more relevant to the world. Because if you just have, let's be honest, white engineers and white designers, you're going to get that type of product.
Yep.
But if you have voices and the rich diversity of our community building these products, that's when we can come up with cool things like what we're just talking about. So it's funny because everything we're talking about hasn't been created, but we'll find that creator to do that.
Hey, something else too as part of that. I remember when I first started covering Oscar parties, as I wanted to cover the Oscars, this was 2009, and YouTube, I had taken the first YouTube channel to cover the NFL draft. That was in 2006. And I thought I just wanted to do more. I was hungry. So on a lark, I reached out to the Academy, and basically it was too late to apply, and they had said no about getting on the red carpet, and I didn't know how it worked. I was just literally diving in, right?
Yeah.
And I say that to make this point to your story that comes back to what we're talking about. They gave me what's called a setup credential and go on the day of the Oscars. And then I found the Night Understood's Oscar party. And my first party was 2010, because I was 2009, I reached out in 2010 for the Oscars. And I was interviewing people. I interviewed Shaun Young from The Hurt Locker, and thought, okay, it's not going to go anywhere. And then I had interviewed Stephen Collins, who for me had only relevance to my life because he was Captain Will Decker on Star Trek: The Motion Picture in '79. Okay,
okay,
that was it. So I'm like, yeah, Will Decker, yeah, and he was tickled that somebody remembered that, and it was on video. But I'm thinking in terms of videos, it's not going to go anywhere, right? Because who cares? Well, turns out the video, because I'm statistics hungry, it started changing and going up, and I thought, what's going on? He was on Nip Tuck.
Wow. Okay.
And then it started increasing for another reason because he had these child, allegations against him. I was like, oh man, seriously? My point is, you can literally through digital media track where a person is as a celebrity has a name, and we're all celebrities now, as you know,
right?
With it, right? To the point where they aren't with us, but then even then, because of their legacy content, if somebody starts talking about them or a giant network, it goes up again.
Right.
And so I think even beyond, I hate to say beyond death like that, and I say it hard because I'm, you want to think you're gonna have your parents forever. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and I hope I have my mom forever, but been lucky to get her until she's 85, 86 October 1st, Lord willing. So so it's particularly hard. So it means more to me now than ever because for the reasons we're talking about. I'd like to be involved in that in any kind of way I am, because it's right along the lines of what we're doing in terms of just what we're doing. But this is not about me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I will say, Zenny, is that I would encourage you, because I know this, that each year we meet 800 students at BRIDGEGOOD, and they're from all walks of life. And I'll tell you, relevance is very small. Your window of relevance, your window of impact is so small that I know that the future is the young people, younger than me, that are coming up. So I would encourage you, even if it's one or two apprentices of your own, to educate or give opportunities to those people.
Actually, it's funny you say that because we have slots for 11 paid vloggers.
Okay.
And we have, and basically there's a way that I vlog using the camera, holding it horizontally, 16:9 aspect ratio, and then also using a smart-based way of telling news so that this company, which I own 70%, is the scene in the 21st century. So I have paid vloggers, and we've gotten funding from the federal government through the PPP. We also got more funding as well. We've got possibly another bit of funding coming from a tech company I don't want to name. We're for profit. We have clients we do reputation management for, and we tell people who the clients are, so that we have people running around saying, "Oh, he was hiding and all this." We don't do that.
So for any student that wants to get a hold of you for that,
your students, man.
Oh no, I'm going to share this video. So how do they get a hold of you? What's the best way?
Yeah, best way is I'm at Zenny at Zenny62.com.
Great.
Yeah, and if you just type Zenny Abraham or Zenny62.com or OaklandNewsNow.com, Oakland's top daily blog, do you realize we have 500,000 visitors over that this year?
That's insane.
880,000 more. There's gonna be more after this. Oakland Raiders to this date this year alone. 880,000. Now, my point is, yeah, we're doing it, and because I've figured out a way through our business model to get people paid in a more robust way over standard news, right?
Yeah.
So I teach them this way because I want them to be comfortable, and I'm sure this will resonate with you, with just taking up the smartphone, right, and making some news right then and there, and knowing
very powerful tool, the cell phone, for sure.
Yeah. And knowing it's not going to be just on their phone, it's going to go to YouTube, it's going to go to 16 blogs, it's going to go to News app, Apple News, Smart app, Google News. It's in seconds. And I had a friend do this at the Gaza Strip in 2018. She used it, so she's my legacy vlogger. I got stock for her set aside because she got it, and she used it. She was half around the world. I'm like, what the heck happened? I didn't know she was going to do it, right? I was like, whoa, that's the idea. So yeah, that's the idea. So
so now you have it out to the world. You'll get some emails. Let's wrap up with one final question you have. Let's do it.
Yeah, definitely. I have the other question I have is, first of all, how did you come to merge Oakland Digital and Bridge Good? And yeah.
So one of the big ways that BridgeGood has always, at that time, Oakland Digital has grown is that we go out to schools. So we go up to 50 schools a year through the first quarter. When we used to go out to Stockton and we'd go out to Clovis and Fresno and we'd say we're Oakland Digital, they would be like, why are you all the way down here? So as we began to grow our influence and impact outside of Oakland, BridgeGood was the only way we could do it, was basically bridging two different groups together, students to opportunities, students to businesses. So we had to, because our reach is beyond Oakland now. So it's more of a scalable model. We have BRIDGEGOOD.com, which is a web application, versus BRIDGEGOOD.org, which is a nonprofit website. To learn more about us, BRIDGEGOOD.com, students can go on there right now, get a free portfolio, get mentorship from companies like Google, Twitter, Facebook. Today, they had mentorship from Slack. So Square has been a part of it. Shout out to Square, a new opening in Oakland. So there's tons of things students can do through BridgeGood.com. But as Oakland Digital, I love Oakland. I'll always have Oakland at my heart. But we scaled beyond it. And that's where we are now, BridgeGood.
And you also have had, because I'm going to show the website again, you've been a partner with YouTube, Google, I believe, Facebook.
Yeah, we were funded by Google.org in 2015. Facebook, two of our board members, product designers. So we actually have a lot of great board members from every company you named. And now we're refining our mission to really make sure that those students that work with us get jobs, get their dream jobs. So this was oaklanddigital.org when we formally announced that we're switching over to BridgeGood. And that's our former board president, Chelsea Sebron, from 2019. And then we advanced to BridgeGood. So if you go to bridgegood.org, that's our new site. But really, it's all about preparing student creatives for meaningful jobs in the 21st century. You can go to bridgegood.org/donate to donate. Let's keep creativity alive no matter what, Zenny. And really, I want to end our discussion on, check out bridgegood.com if you're a student. Check out bridgegood.org if you want to donate or make an impact for young students of color. And then also support groups like Zenny, organizations like Zenny, leaders like Zenny that are trying to keep legacy alive, history alive, and really paying homage to those that blaze the path. Because without those people, we wouldn't be today. Absolutely.
Use that. A lot of people need what he's got here. Okay, I can't tell you how valuable this is. Sorry, I just happened to see that website for the first time and I went bonkers. That's great, man. That's the thing right there, Shaun. That is really something. Folks, you got to go out and sign up.
Go to bridgegood.com if you're a student, bridgegood.org if you are interested, and then definitely spread the message of my philosophy is if you can inspire one person a week, you've made it. I don't really get. My mom always says this, Zenny, and we'll leave it on this because I know you love your mom and I love my mom. It's deep because my mom always said that my two sons don't care about money, and I think the world would be a better place if they understood that impact is so much more than money. And I'll leave it at that.
Hey man, the Lord has blessed me for having met you in this way, and I'd like to have you on our advisory board. I want to make that formal invitation right now, and I'll put that together because we would be weaker without you. And I just want to make that absolutely clear. We'd be far weaker without this man. So this is Mr. Oakland. So anyway,
I really appreciate your energy and your time, and for everyone out there, stay tuned. We got a lot coming up, right?
Yep. And hey, folks, stick around. Shaun, stick around in the backstage.
We'll do.
We'll be back later tonight. We're going to talk NFL and the latest news with the Las Vegas Raiders, among others. And so we will see you. Hey, what do you think about the Raiders leaving, man?
Man, come on. You can't even ask me that question. That's the answer you needed right there. All right.
All right, folks.
Peace and love.
Hold on a second, John. We'll close you out another way.